They say this is a big rich town. I just come from the poorest part. Bright light, city life.
Everybody wants diversification until I mention Afro.
Africa has the highest return on foreign investment than any other place in the world.
But you don't hear about it.
Of course not.
Of course not. Right.
Of course, the global average is 7.4. Africa is 11, right? So nobody knows that, and nobody thinks that, and nobody talks about that because it's counterintuitive to the perspective that they have.
I'm going to keep it a buck with you.
Exactly. They don't want to share the knowledge. They don't want people to know that Africa is the next biggest market. Africa is going to be where all the money's going to be at. I'm telling y'all. They don't want y'all to know. They want y'all to think it's only in the U.S. markets where you can invest. They don't want you to think about anything outside of the U.S.
With you, because I've often thought about this, especially, getting older. I'm going, I want to invest in Africa. But then just being honest and truthful, then fear starts to come. Like, wait, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And
what if a line?
That is so true, because everybody has a misconception of Africa. The propaganda that's been put on Africa is so deep that even Africans think badly about Africans. I mean, just look at when IShowSpeed went to Africa, and all these, whether it was white Americans or black Americans, saw all these things that were happening in Africa, and it was mind-blowing to them. Like, they could never imagine that Africa would have these things. They really thought Africans were still living in huts and wearing leaves. They really thought that. As big as Africa is in 2026. So when you think, invest in Africa, go to Africa, visit Africa, it's just now people started visiting Africa. It is just now people are feeling comfortable saying, I'm gonna go to Africa. I attribute it to Afro music. Afro music opened up how people see Africa. They see how Africans move. They can see it through the music videos. So now people are more comfortable. That's why most people, when they go to Africa, it's Nigeria or Ghana, because a lot of the Afro music that's in America are from those two countries. It's just now recently that people are getting comfortable with Africa. When people think about investing, they're scared. When people think about visiting, they're scared. A lot of people, up until IShowSpeed, when they thought about Africa, they thought about huts and forests and animals.
Comes.
and it's because I think what ends up happening is that to come, like, wait, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And
what if a line comes?
And it's because I think what ends up happening is that all of that programming and fear starts to come, like, oh, well, you don't know, and what, and before you know it, you end up doing nothing, right? You end up doing nothing and not investing.
That's why you're here to guide us to this. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I mean, Nigeria's GDP is going to be $15 trillion by 2050.
$15 trillion. And I go to Africa often. And the opportunities that I see, if you could just get your things together, save up a lot of money, the market is open. It's not saturated like here in America. The market is super open. If you can find a problem and solve it, which there are a lot, unlike here, you can become very rich. And you can become very rich way before 2050. It's not like here in the American market where, you want to, for example, open up a laundromat, but wherever you go, you're probably going to see 5 laundromats on the block. You go to Africa, you're going to open up a laundromat, you won't see a laundromat for miles. The market is open. It's not saturated like here in America. There's so many opportunities.
Nigeria's going to be the 3rd biggest economy in the world.
Wow.
That's the truth.
Think about that. Nigeria, 3rd biggest economy in the world. I think they said 50% of the population are under 18. So that means they have yet to spend money. So that means once they get money, imagine 50% of the population, as soon as they hit 18, they start getting jobs, start working. Some of them are going to be millionaires, some of them are going to be thousandaires, middle class. They're all going to be spending money, and they're all going to need somewhere, someplace to spend their money. And you can have a piece of that. Just think about that for a second.
Africa right now has 4 of the fastest, of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world is in Africa right now.
Let's go.
Technology, AI, finance, infrastructure, real estate, it is booming, right?
When did you start
Because
Full
it's
Circle
all
and why?
about the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? We have the
And then also you got to think about it. Most of the resources and minerals that are needed to build the technology that we use around the world, maybe not most, but a lot, I want to say 30 to 40% come from the continent of Africa. So if you can be someone who steps into that market and you're the person who, instead of having all these companies outside of Africa come into Africa, remove the resources, build what they build, and then come back and sell it in Africa. If you're that person who can cut off that middle person, you're in Africa, you gather the resources, you refine it, and then you sell it right back, saving you all this extra money of shipping, logistics, manufacturing outside the country, in a country with a currency that is way stronger than an African currency. You do all of that here, meaning you save a lot of money, you do everything cheaply. You cut that extra logistical nightmare. You'd be rich. You'd be wealthy. That's really all it's about. Solving a problem. And there are a lot of problems on the continent of Africa.
youngest demographic in the world. 40% of the world's youth will be in Africa by 2050.
Damn.
Think about that.
40%.
40% of the youngest demographic in the world. 40% of the world's youth will be in Africa by 2050.
Damn.
Think about that.
40%.
40% of the
world's
entire world's youth
yeah.
will be in Africa. So,
Damn.
what that means for job creation, what that means for human resources, what that means for ideations, what that means for technology. Africa has 900 million smartphones by 2030. That's twice as many as America and Europe combined.
That is crazy. That makes you think of the size of Africa in comparison to America and Europe.
And with fintech and everything else, everybody's doing everything on their smartphones in Africa. They've done that for years before we even started over there.
Before we did the pay by with the Apple Pay and whatever, they were doing that.
Kenya,
before
in
that. They
Kenya,
sure
that's
Yep.
everybody's.
They were doing that. Yup.
Yeah,
I saw a
everybody's
whole
doing
video on that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right. So again, the work that we're doing is, and it's funny, people say, oh, it's so good of you to give back. I'm not giving back. This is economic development. This is investing. This is understanding that Africa is not an emerging market anymore.
Yeah.
It's a booming market.
Everyone says diversify globally, then only buy US stocks. I'm not saying abandon the US market. That would be crazy. But if you really believe in diversification, you should at least understand what else exists. I mean, look what's being said. There are many opportunities in Africa. That's why I'm even learning about BRVM. Now, for those who don't know, BRVM stands for Bourse Régionale des Valeurs Mobilières. It's the regional stock exchange for the WAEMU/UEMOA zone in West Africa. So, instead of one country having its own separate exchange, the BRVM connects multiple countries through one shared market. Countries like Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Benin, Togo, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and I believe Guinea-Bissau. are all connected to it. So when you study the BRVM, you're not just looking at one country. You're looking at a piece of West Africa's financial systems. I'm talking banks, telecoms, utilities, agriculture, consumer companies, and businesses tied to the region's growth. Let me be clear. This is a frontier market investing. That means opportunity, but there is still real risk. I mean, there's less liquidity, there's currency risk, political risk, harder access, less information, slower buying and selling. So this is not me telling y'all you need to run and buy anything. I'm learning because Africa is part of my story, of my work. And I want to understand how wealth is built outside of just America, because I was raised here. I was born in Ivory Coast, but I was raised here. I came here really young. So all I really know is America. Rich Broke is saying you want global wealth, but only studying what everybody else already buys. I'm documenting the journey, not pretending to know everything.
In endless sectors,
And
right?
this is probably why you see a lot of the people from China starting to come into.
Not starting to come in. They've been in Africa for the
they've been
last 20 years.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Yeah, the Chinese have been building bridges, helping put together coastal ports, building infrastructure. They're heavily invested because they can see, while America is occupied with wars and coup d'etats and disrupting an economy or a country, China is being low-key and investing. They're like, hey, we'll invest in you, and we get a piece. You let our people come in, we'll let your people come to our country, but you gotta pay us back. And I don't know how the deals work, but I just know instead of fighting in wars, China is doing it another way. Instead of playing checkers, they're playing chess.
Investing, especially in infrastructure.
So we're just now finding out. Yeah.
Yeah.
For decades, they've been very busy in Africa.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important that we realize.
When did you start Full Circle?
2019 was our first year.
2019.
So we took Ghana from 40,000 tourist visa to 1.2 million the next year.
Damn.
1 year.
Wow.
So now that means we helped contribute 10 billion to the economy just through tourism and investment tourism.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, because I remember you invited me. I think it was last year. And I wasn't able to make it. But I'm definitely coming by the grace of God for the next one.
You have a conference?
Yeah, we do a Full Circle conference where we invite leaders in business, sports, and entertainment to come and have these kind of
when does it happen?
discussions.
It's gonna
Christmas and New Year's. So it's right after Christmas.
Is it out here?
No,
It's in Accra.
Was it? Is it?
Ghana.
Is it? Really?
Yeah.
That might
You
be.
never seen all the content that came from that?
No,
December in
listen.
Ghana?
First of all, Ghana and Nigeria popping in December.
Yeah,
First off.
December.
I was there when I was in Nigeria a year ago, visiting my relatives. I met so many tech people. It's crazy, like the tech. And I was like, well, what about, the government? It's like the government is still corrupt. He says, we don't care about the government. We do what we do.
Yeah.
I have my, it's all these tech people. My cousin's is a filmmaker in Nigeria, and I just went to some film festival and just meeting directors and they're getting it in, man.
It's amazing what's going on.
Getting it in, bro.
And it's interesting because we have a partnership with the government.
Yeah.
But we're focused on the private sector, right? Because the private sector has the ability to move much faster. So it's much easier to get stuff done when you partner with the private sector and you get the endorsement of the government.
I'm gonna leave it right here, man. But I'm telling y'all, Africa is the next frontier. But I want y'all to let me know, if you could invest anywhere outside of the US, it doesn't have to be Africa, it could be Africa, where would it be? Put it down in the comment section. Peace.
Hey, if you enjoyed this clip of Rich Broke by Benny Beckrow, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe.